All right. Hello, wine drinking people. We are back, and it's time for what I drank yesterday, which, as you know, Tuesday, what I drank yesterday could be what I drank Saturday or Friday or, some other day other than yesterday, because we do a lot of drinking here at the Wine Watch. So we got to get caught up on a few things come Tuesday. And we did have a supplier in the store here from Becky Wasserman with our rep from Augustin, Craig. And we've had a lot of stuff from this portfolio. We've had Peter Wasserman come in, do tastings with us. Becky was a trailblazer, is a trailblazer in Burgundy, and one of the greatest portfolios of wines coming from this region from small domains are in Becky Wasserman's portfolio. And we're always happy to taste these wines, and even happier to put on a tasting for our fellow wine drinking people. And I promise we'll have something coming up in the very near future, as they still have some 2007 and 2008 vintage in the market to sell in anticipation of this 2009 vintage coming from Burgundy, which everybody that loves Burgundy has been inquiring about. 07 and 08, kind of the stragglers there. We're going to see some nice deals on these wines, just like you'll see on some of the things on this offering. All right, we started out with a wine from the Mâcon, which is Jean Manciat, and this wine's got a very distinct minerality to it. It's a Mâcon Chardonnay, and really unique, almost like a beer-type barley smell to the nose, and lemon and fresh apple fruit there as well. Really nice intensity on the tongue for a Mâcon, with tingly acidity and lemon zest through the finish, and a nice hint of minerality also showing up there. A lot of wine here for $16.50. Man, you can find some really good values in the Mâcon today. All right, next up we had a Bourgogne Blanc from Jean-Philippe Fichet, and this wine, Bourgogne Blanc is the lowest classification for white grapes or red grapes, Bourgogne Rouge, coming out of Burgundy. And, there's some producers that make all their Bourgogne Blanc, it's just their declassified Meursault or Chassagne Montrachet. So all Bourgogne Blanc is not, created equal. There's some Bourgogne Blancs like Loise 98 that we had in Brown Bag on Saturday, still spectacular after being open for 2 days, as I imagined this wine would be. Very well built, and this is wine from Meursault. It actually could be called a Village Meursault, I guess. But a nice amount of that ripe pear and citrus fruit on the nose, with a touch of minerality and a hint of buttered toast. Nice concentration and richness on the palate, a sign that that this wine comes from Meursault, and lovely concentration, and a nice, a bit simple and straightforward, but nice freshness on the finish. And, a lot of producers, like I said, the great ones will not put their young vines into their top wines, so just to classify them into their Bourgogne Rouge or Blanc until they feel like the wines are old enough to put in their top level wines. All right, next up we had a Comte Armand wine, or Duresses Premier Cru, and the winemaker Benjamin Leroux is a big fan of biodynamic farming, as you're seeing a huge trend toward making things organically and naturally in France. This wine had a nice hint of barnyard here, some fresh earth to the cranberry and red cherry fruit on the nose. Very precise wine with lovely balance and good firm underbelly of acidity and a nice long finish. 2007. These are wines that are more made to be drunk early, but lovely balance and lovely freshness. Next up we had a Sauvigny Le Bon from 08, Domaine Pavelot, and I think 08 is spectacular vintage for whites. Maybe not quite as good as reds, but the wines are very forward and charming, just as this wine was, with lovely red raspberry and strawberry-like fruit on the nose, a touch of mint and fresh earth there also. Mouth-filling fruit on the tongue. As I said, these 08s, very appealing, very forward, really drinkable, and some light floral notes on the highlights, on the finish, a real crowd pleaser style of Sauvigny Le Bon, very good. And then next up, Alain Burguet. This gentleman's making some fantastic wines from Gevrey Chambertin. This is just his tradition, which some nice exotic spice here, some fresh floral notes to the raspberry and strawberry, wild strawberry-like fruit, a touch of fresh earth here also showing. Nice amount of red berry fruit on the tongue with some tannin showing up on the finish. These Gevrey Chambertin, usually a big wine, and this wine, an excellent example of Village Gevrey Chambertin from the 2007 vintage. All right, and then next up, our big dog, Freddie Mugnier. Man, this Nuits Saint Georges Clos de la Marchal, a little monster. We still have some 2005 left, but that's near $100 a bottle. Well, this 2007 is like $85 a bottle, so maybe 15% off for the 2007 vintage. But as I mentioned before, somewhat forward and showy, even though this is a big wine. It could use a little time in almost any vintage. Some lovely wild strawberry and raspberry fruit on the nose here, a potpourri of floral and exotic spices. Very pretty wine with lots of nuance here and showing its big structure on the palate. Like I said, these 2007 a little more forward, but this wine is pretty big almost everywhere, every year, and some nice spice and nuance on the finish with that as well. All right, well, next up, we're going to check out some new wines from Ferrari Carano Winery.